I'd like to start the show off with some good news because there's been too much bad news recently, and we all know to what I'm referring. Yesterday I got back the results to my annual physical examination from Doc Rubin. We all know Doc Rubin. He's the old country doctor, the old GP who's got his offices out on Broadway right across the street from Fairchild's Funeral Parlor. They call that synergy. And what he did was, he said to me, Pep, it's so good to see you. You're healthy as a horse. He knows all about this because he started out as a veterinarian, but he figured it was a lot safer, dealing with people. People are much fonder of their animals than they are of other people. You can understand what I'm saying. And he says, Pep, you're healthy as a horse. And I said, yeah. And he says, Pep, if you calm down, I'll give you another 25 years. And I said, Doc Rubin, you know me, you know Preston Pepper. I am not gonna back down. I am not gonna relax. I'm just not gonna calm down. And he said to me, I knew you weren't gonna do that, Pep, and that's why I give you another 30 years. So you're stuck with me for another 30 years, boys and girls. And here we are today. I hope you enjoyed our little cinematographic presentation. We were hoping to do something a little bit more elaborate. But unfortunately, with no electricity, we had to get Frank on that bicycle generator, and we did what we could do. I have a lot of experience, and in the movie business, in fact, I put it to good use a couple of days ago. I was in New York having a little dinner with Rupert Murdoch, one of my best friends, and we were eating at the Abattoir. What a beautiful place. The Abattoir is the only 6-star restaurant in New York City, and it's run by my good friend, Dominique Simone. Dominique Simone is one of the kindest, the most wonderful, the most gracious people in the restaurant business. He knows what he's doing. His family has been in the restaurant business for 150 years, starting out humbly in Bordeaux, France. Originally, they were in the slave trade. When that business was shut down, they used the skills they had accumulated in the slave trade to get into the restaurant business. In fact, Dominique often says, it's amazing, you could do things to a waiter or a busboy they never let you do to a slave. Anyway, he's sitting there, and we're having a little bit of dinner, and then trouble breaks out. Off in the corner, Francis Coppola and is getting a little bit juiced on some Guinea Red, and I'm not too happy about that because he's disturbing everybody. We've got a very select clientele at the restaurant. This wine, in fact, was distastefully decanted by Dominique, and he said, oh, Pep, he's making a fool of himself, but everybody. I said, I'll take care of this. I'm going to take care of this. And I said, don't worry. I said, mon ami, je vais faire quelque chose tout de suite. So I get up there and I walk on over and I walk on over there and I get in front of him. He's also, with his friend Marty Scorsese. I know both of these guys from my time out in Hollywood. There's nothing to them. And I say, look, fellas, you're a little juiced up, but I'm going to tell you something. Just because you were weaned on spaghetti doesn't exactly make either of you Federico Fellini. I knew Federico Fellini, boys, and I studied cinema with him, and neither of you were Federico Fellini. I came to Federico Fellini as a young man, as a student, and I left as the master. He said, Pep, you were the master. When I close my eyes and I look at you, I see somebody only a little bit larger than Orson Welles, and I said, Federico, it's beautiful to hear that. Well, anyway, I said, neither of you are Federico Fellini, and I just turned. You could have heard a pin drop in that restaurant. Could have heard a pin drop in the restaurant. They both got up and just left without paying the check. And all the people there, David Rockefeller and some of the boys from Goldman Sachs, they were cheering, oh, well done, Pep, well done, Pep. And, it's the kind of thing I've really felt empowered to do since Bubbles McAdoo bought me the title, Laird of Dundee. I have a sense of noblesse obligé now that I didn't have before. I might have just knocked the two of them out and thrown them out the door. But we do not do things like that in a 6-star restaurant. Well, anyway, I come back to the table and, Rupert Murdoch says to me, that was quite a show you just put on, Pep. And he said, what do you think was the matter with them? And I said, they were drunk, And Rupert looks at me and says, drunk? I smell liberals. I smell liberals, and I'm going to tell you something. Neither of those guys is ever going to get a good review in one of my papers for one of the lousy movies. And I said, well, that's the price you pay for public intoxication. It's a terrible thing. Anyway, I am so happy to be here with all of my friends. I just got a little, carried away with that anecdote. I know you want to hear about my adventures, which are numerous and interesting. And for the mundane lives you lead, it'll cheer you up a little bit. We have been roughing it, too, up at Eagle's Claw. That's Bubbles McAdoo's magnificent mansion on the Hudson River. And even though we have a nuclear reactor, we've had to channel a lot of the juice up to Sing Sing. We don't want them to be without electricity, if you know what I mean. Anyway, I'm so glad to be here because this is where it all started. And I'm going to tell you a story. The people who listen to Pep Talk, the people who come here every Tuesday night to listen to my message of truth and hope, when I tell everybody, America, turn your radio dial all the way to the right. It's me, Preston Pepper. The show is Pep Talk, and we are going to tell it like it is. Richard Quinn and I have dedicated our lives to combating liberalism in all of its insidious forms. I have quite a tale to tell, in fact. I was a big shot. I was the biggest thing in right-wing radio. Glenn Beck himself used to refer to me, to Preston Pepper, as the inspiration. But I got too big for my own custom-made Savile-Row britches. One night at a party, I met a woman. I met a woman who I thought was going to be the love of my life. I had failed in love 7 times. But when I met Ann Coulter, the queen of the right, I thought, my God, that's the woman for me. And boy, was I wrong. Because Ann Coulter, I want to tell you something, many of the good people out there for years have followed her right-wing message, believing it to be sincere. It's nothing of the sort. Ann Coulter is not a real partisan of the right. What she is a Mata Hari. Ann Coulter is a Mata Hari, a double agent working for the liberals to bring America, to bring the Republican Party, and to bring God down. And it doesn't get much worse than that. We've got some damning circumstantial evidence that could bear this out. I was talking to Karl Rove. He's a real pussycat. He has to get tough during a campaign. He does what it takes to win. But Karl Rove is a pussycat. He said, when I told him the story, he said, Pep, she could swing for that. If this was the Wild West, she could swing for that. They used to swing you for a whole lot less. Who says things get better? I don't. After that, I fell. I fell into the bottomless pit of alcoholism. I was living in a hovel over the garage in Mrs. Blair's estate out in the horse country, out in the North Shore of Long Island. I was drunk all the time. I had no friends, I had no cell phone, I seldom bathed, and I liked it that way. The only friend I really had was the kid who delivered my booze every week from the local liquor store, and I had a bottle under my bed, Canadian Club, I'd drink it down, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to fade away after 40 years. In the culture wars, I said, enough for old Pep. But one person didn't want old Pep to fade away. Bubbles McAdoo. Yes, Bubbles McAdoo, the jolly socialite from the Hudson River Valley. In her younger days, in fact, she was